What was your first job you got?
First job I got, actually, actually I had some really seedy jobs for a little kid, because I wanted to quit school and become an actor when I was about 16, and my mom said, okay, if you're going to quit, you've got to get a job. Now the first two jobs I got actually totally had to do with like the porno industry, all right, you know, and I was like, I'm so not interested in porno films, I can't tell you, all right, but the first job I got was working for this guy who had a bunch of, you know, those newspaper racks with all the sex rags in it.
Right.
Well, he owned a whole bunch of newspaper racks, and what we would do is he would drive around all night long in his van, and we would just collect the quarters and put in new papers, all right? So first I did that. That was my first, like, official job, all right? My second official job was I got a job as an usher at the Pussycat movie theater, all right, in Torrance, California. All right, so I was an usher at this porno movie theater at 16, lied about my age. And the irony of all ironies is when I was growing up, I always thought, man, I mean, forget about being a director, forget about being an actor. To me, the greatest job a person could ever have would being an usher at a movie theater. You know, you get to go to a movie theater all day long, and then you get to see all the movies for free. All right, well, irony of ironies, I ended up getting a job at a movie theater that I could care less about the movies and was totally bored by them.
And then what?
And then I kind of just went through like a bunch of little, like, you know, phone sales job and this little stupid job here and that little stupid job there, until eventually, like around age 22, I got a job at a place called Video Archives in Hermosa Beach. And
this is a famous video store.
It's the famous Video Archives. And what was funny about that job was the fact that, like, people said, oh, so that's kind of like your film school.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what they're saying now.
That's exactly what they're saying. And it's become
so there are a whole bunch of kids who want to be you are rushing to video stores to get a job.
Yeah, now I don't know if it's that much of a film school. A friend of mine, Roger Avery, who I just produced a film that he directed called Killing Zoe, he's been putting out this theory, and the press has been eating it up like it was pudding, all right, you know, and I don't think he believes in it in 2 seconds, and I don't even believe in it that much, all right. What that store was, more or less, is not a film school. It was kind of a closer equivalent would be, it was like my Village Voice. And I got to be Jay Hoberman. I got to be Andrew Saris of the store, you know, be like the little Mr. Critic, you know, at the store, putting films in people's hands and arguing my points, why this movie was good or why that movie was bad and everything. But the way I got the job was, it wasn't like I got this job and all of a sudden saw all these movies and then just decided to, and then I became knowledgeable about them, and hey, let me make some of them. It was like I got the job because I already was a film expert, so to speak. I mean, that's why they hired me.
Because you had just studied on your own, not because you went to school. But what does your success now say? I'm a reporter, journalist. I mean, there's always this argument, people come to me, should I go to journalism school? What do you say to those people who are getting ready to go to the University of Southern California or UCLA or NYU Film School, and they look at you and there's no school there. You were, as they say, quote, self-taught. There was a passion to learn, a passion to watch, you know. It came out of you early on falling in love with film.
Well, that's the most important thing that I think.
To love the business.
You have to. You have to. You know,
there's nothing else. You don't know what you'd do if you weren't in film.
No, I never set up a situation. I never set up a fallback situation because I didn't want to fall back. You know, I wanted to have to keep eating at it. You know, and actually, that leads me to a point. Let me say this point and then get back to your question. Okay, if there's one thing that I've done that I'm like the proudest of everything, all right, is the fact that. People talk about, wow, you've had such success and it's just been so overnight and whatever. Well, whatever success I've got has come after like 8 years of just nothing working out as trying to get a job in films.
What didn't work out?
Well, it's like basically what I tried to do
was... Give some sense of rejection.
Well, what happened basically was I had tried to make a film, it's at around 22, 23, I said, well, you know what, I'm going to make a film.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right? And I'm going to make, you know, I had actually met a few different directors by saying I was going to write a book and wanted to interview them, all right? And so I ended up like talking to them, and they all said that they had made their first films by the time they were 30, or around 30 years old was when they made their first film. So I thought, well, okay, well, I'm going to beat that. I'm going to make my first film by the time I'm 26. And that was my thing, all right, 26. So I started making this movie. I came up with the idea for a short film that I was going to shoot. I was going to shoot it on Super 8. Then I ended up getting somebody's 16mm camera. I was going to shoot it that way. And then I shot on it for like about a couple of weekends. I thought, well, hell, film's kind of cheap and everything like that. Why don't I just shoot it like a feature? And this was before She's Gotta Have It, all right? It was like after Stranger Than Paradise, but before She's Gotta Have It. And so I just started shooting it that way. And I'm like, well, I'm going to make a feature. I'm going to make a 16mm feature, black and white, and it'll be cool. So I ended up working for like 3 years on this movie, and this was going to be my feature, and I was like, I was financing it from working at a video store. So what means was like I would like get like $200 or so, and then we'd go off and shoot for the weekend, and then we'd run out of money, and then I would like go back to work again, and then like eventually I would just keep piecing it together. And what you would do is when you'd rent equipment from a rental house, if you rent it on Friday, you have it all weekend. It's kind of this one-day rental, and you have to return it Monday morning. So you would just like burn your. I mean, you would just like get old before your time trying to like shoot all weekend long and give the stuff back. I had so little money that I couldn't even process this footage. All right, that I was in. That's way too expensive. All right, so eventually I ended up after like about 3 years, I ended up like starting processing some of the footage and starting seeing exactly what I had. And guess what?
What?
I did not have at all what I thought I had. All right, it was.
How was it different?
It was amateurish.
Yeah.
It was really, and not in a charming way either. And,
it had no charm.
No charm at all. All right, and the thing is.
No one said, "Isn't that cute?"
No. It wasn't like that. Now, there were good things about it. All right, I mean, you could tell I made it.
Yeah.
People who knew me could look at, well, that's a Quentin movie.
That.
Yeah, that has my spirit.
You've had that
from
my day one then.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, it was like this was going to be the thing that like set me up. Yeah. All right, and I'd worked 3 years on it, and I was able to look at it in a realistic way after being horribly depressed for a little bit, but only a short little bit. Was the fact that, well, this was my film school. All right, and this was the best film school a person could possibly have. I mean, I actually, instead of like going to school and paying a ton of money to be allowed to use some of their crappy equipment, all right, I actually went out and actually tried to make a feature film. All right, now I failed. It was guitar picks when I was finished. But when I looked at the footage, now all the stuff I did the first year, which was all the story stuff, all right, sucked. All right, but the stuff that I did like the last couple of months, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. And what made the difference? What did you learn after you got past the story stuff? And is that what is best about even Pulp Fiction, where you got beyond the story stuff?
Well, no. To me, I actually think one of my strengths is my storytelling.
Yeah.
Because I actually am committing to telling a story. It was
because you're a writer.
More as a viewer, more the fact that I just like, I like it when somebody tells me a story, and I actually really feel that that's becoming like a lost art.